that you're just sitting there in your car and your baby mom is right in front of you.
She's not in front of me. Can we go back?
Your baby mom.
That's not in front of me. That's not in front of me. That's not.
Your baby mom is in this building.
That's not in front of me, though.
Your baby mom is in this building.
It's not in front of me.
Being stabbed more than 100 times. Being stabbed more than 100 times. And you're there in the parking lot.
And I'm there in the parking lot.
And then the building goes on fire. And not to mention your baby's mom, your children, bro. Your children. Your children are in there.
I did not see any smoke coming from it. I did not even see any smoke coming from it.
I did not see any smoke coming from it. I did not even see any smoke coming from it. That's what he said. A man sitting in a police interrogation room, calm, composed, telling detectives he was parked right outside his baby mother's apartment and didn't notice a single thing. Not the smoke pouring from the windows, not the fire consuming the building, not his own children trapped inside, not the woman he had just stabbed over 100 times. Let that land for a second. Because here's what psychologists who study criminal behavior have documented: a mechanism called self-serving bias, where the mind doesn't just deceive others. It works to deceive itself. The suspect narrates reality in real time. They don't just tell a story, they begin to inhabit it. And the more catastrophic the crime, the more complete the denial has to be, because the alternative, accepting what they actually did, is something the ego cannot survive. What happened in Daytona Beach, Florida in November 2023 is one of the most documented examples of this in recent memory.
The defendant in this incident deserves a special place in the gates of for what he did to this mother and these children. Again, I have never witnessed anything this horrific in my entire career.
He says a mother of 3 was found stabbed to death inside her apartment overnight. We're told the fire started before midnight, and he said the mother and her 3 children were inside. Among the
Before we go further, if you're part of the Red Rage family, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. Membership keeps these investigations alive. Massive thanks to our super gifters. You know who you are. And to every subscriber, every person commenting and liking your family here. Don't be a stranger. Denja Nikki Moore was 30 years old. She graduated from Bethune-Cookman University with a degree in criminal justice, a woman who studied the systems meant to protect people like her. She managed the BCU football team, worked full-time while taking classes, built a hairstyling business under the name Hair by Nikki, booking clients with a $10 deposit. She had 3 children, Dakota, Dove, and Messiah, 10 months old at the time of his death. He never made it to his first birthday. Charles Leon Ivy was 34, former U.S. Army infantry. He ran a landscaping business, owned a hookah lounge called the Lion's Den, hosted a weekly live stream in Daytona Beach. Denja and Charles had 2 children together. By 2019, people close to her were publicly naming his infidelity on social media. By 2020, she had left him and relocated to Orlando. That same year, Charles filed an emergency custody motion while simultaneously ignoring his kids' phone calls for over a week. That same year, he was named as a suspect in a felony child abuse case involving one of the children. The case was closed, no charges filed. She moved forward, he filed paperwork. In October 2023, 1 month before he took her life, Charles filed an LLC for a new business. A month later, Denja Moore was dead. On the night of November 20th, 2023, Charles got off his shift at Checkers around 10 p.m. She told detectives he went to Denja's apartment on Bevel Road to drop off $120 in cash because her Cash App wasn't working. Traffic cameras caught his SUV heading toward her building. By his own account, he arrived around 11 p.m., stayed 15 to 20 minutes, then sat in the parking lot for another 30 before claiming to leave at 11:35. The state fire marshal placed the fire's origin between 11:32 and 11:42 p.m. And it wasn't one fire. Investigators found 2 separate ignition points. In the kitchen, all 4 stove burners were on with burned paper and a box stacked on top, deliberately positioned. In the bedroom, the same room where Denja was found, where 10-month-old Messiah was in his crib, the fire marshal was unambiguous. This was arson, calculated and set in 2 locations. When investigators asked about the stove, Charles said Denja had been warming a baby bottle on the front burner and that he was the one who turned it off. He walked detectives through the whole routine, the bubbles, the temperature, how she let it sit, but all 4 burners were on. You don't warm a baby bottle on all 4 burners. Firefighters arrived to a fully engulfed apartment with black smoke pouring from every window and door. They went in anyway. Inside they found all 3 children and Denja. Messiah was in his crib near his mother. He went into cardiac arrest and was pronounced dead at Halifax Medical Center. Dakota and Dove, 4 and 5 years old, were transported to Shands Children's Hospital, both intubated. They had no stab wounds. Their injuries were entirely from smoke and fire from being left to burn.
But we do begin with a horrible, tragic scene this morning out of Daytona Beach where a baby and its mother are confirmed dead after a fire.
2 other children rushed to the hospital and police are calling the investigation a homicide.
Crews fought the flames at Countryside Apartments off Bevel Road, west of Nova Road. News 6 reporter Ezzy Castro has the latest this morning.
We're learning more details from Daytona Beach Police Chief Jakari Young. He says a mother of 3 was found stabbed to death inside her apartment overnight. We're told the fire started before midnight, and he said the mother and her 3 children were inside. Among the children, an infant who was found inside a crib when crews arrived. Investigators say the baby went into cardiac arrest but later passed away at the hospital. As for the 2 other children, they were rushed to Shands Hospital in Gainesville with injuries.
This is a horrific incident. We are literally 2 days out from a holiday that centers around family, and this is what we're here dealing with this morning. And I'm very proud of all the officers that initially responded to the scene, as well as all fire and medical personnel, just their bravery to be able to go in and, do their best to save lives, because if it were not for their actions, there probably would have been more lives lost.
Daytona Beach Police are calling this a homicide, but at this point they are not releasing anything about a suspect. Now, investigators have spent hours out here collecting evidence. We will be staying on top of this story, and we will bring you more information at News 6 at noon. In Daytona Beach, Ezzy Castro, Gonna Results, News 6.
Denja Moore had been stabbed more than 100 times. Because Charles was the father of 2 of the children, police initially tried to notify him about what had happened. He didn't answer. Detective Cassidy staked out his home in Ormond Beach the next morning and watched as Charles and his girlfriend Jasmine loaded suitcases into a car. She also noticed a visible injury on his leg. Traffic cameras had already documented his SUV leaving Denja's area just as the fire was being reported, heading back toward Ormond Beach. He was pulled over during a traffic stop. When arrested, he was carrying a knife, and he had Denja's cell phone on him. Jasmine cooperated with investigators and was never charged. In the interrogation room, Charles sat across from detectives and held the line. When they told him he was in the parking lot while his baby mother was being stabbed over 100 times and his children were inside a burning building, he said, "I did not see any smoke coming from it. I did not even see any smoke coming from it." That was his answer, repeated, fixed, unshakable. When they showed him photos from the scene, he said he was highly bothered, then cited his military infantry training as the reason he could look at them without breaking. When detectives said his reaction at the hospital had been carefree, he called that an opinion. When they told him Messiah's DNA may have linked the baby to him rather than to another man, he said, "I didn't know that." 5 times in a row. When they pointed out that Denja's phone and his phone tracked in the same direction away from the scene, her phone going silent because she was dead inside a burning apartment, he had nothing. He just snorted. When detectives offered him a pen and paper to write an apology to Denja's family, to his children, to his mother, he asked for a lawyer. That's how it ended. He never confessed, never gave a name, a motive, or a straight answer to a single direct question.
What was your thought going on in your mind?
At that time?
Mm-hmm.
Why so strong? Man.
Yeah.
So when
They
you
gonna put this on me,
what you
yeah,
thought?
yeah, like man, like why so strong? They gonna put it on me, and then like you know, you got everybody just pointing the tasers, got the guns and all that.
Well, that's kind of an odd reaction. Why don't you just commit to Jasmine, and you wouldn't be having any of these headaches and nightmares.
Right. I don't know.
You just can't keep it in your pants, can you?
I just choose not to. Yeah, I choose not to.
The choices we make dictate the lives that we lead.
That's very so. That's very so.
You're deleting photos because you don't want to see her seeing over your shoulder what is in your phone.
Right. Well, that's not issues though. That's just.
Well, then maybe she's got issues with you.
Right.
You don't have issues with her.
Yeah,
maybe she's got issues with you.
That's a better way. Yeah.
And to make your life a little bit easier, you try and eliminate those issues as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you just cash app her the 120 instead of having to go all the way down there?
Nikki Cash Out wasn't working.
Recovered some property as we feel is evidence, but I wanted to give you a chance to first of all, I would like to hear your story and see if you're willing to talk to us. So my partner will end up, he's going to read you your rights, and then if you're willing to talk, then we'll talk. Okay. There was something that you said that you wanted to address.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that you wanted to address?
Make sure that we seen the trailer that was damaged from my hand to my leg, and explaining that was just from lifting it up. My leg got caught under it. We can see the on the trailer. If I don't know if they can take pictures, it's a end point that's pointing out on it that messed it up. Boom. And it happened earlier that morning when I'm heading straight out. What I do, I go straight out. I don't do nothing else, put on my clothes, go straight out.
What morning did it happen?
Yesterday morning.
So you leave there at about 10:42. Where do you go from there?
I went at 10:40. I couldn't have been 10:42. I left a little bit before then because 10:42. Denja had called me. Nikki had called me. I let her know I was leaving.
Okay.
That I was already on the way. Matter of fact, and I said I was called. Yeah.
She called.
Mm-hmm. She called, and I said, by that time I was passing by mainland.
Okay. So you took international.
Right, because that's what I'm coming from the Speedway Carrabba's, and going up to then I go make a left. I mean right to go. What's that? Clyde Morris to that way.
So you take international to Clyde Morris and make a right on Clyde Morris.
Yes, to go to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then where do you go from there?
Then I go to Denja's.
What time do you think it was when you got to Nikki's house?
Yeah, that was 10:42, 11, probably a little bit before 11.
Before 11.
Yeah, a little bit before 11. 10:42 don't take that long, probably like 5 minutes.
When you left Checkers on your way to Nikki's house, did you stop anywhere in between?
No.
Get a soda, pack of cigarettes, anything?
No.
Nothing?
No.
When you got to Nikki's apartment, who was there?
She came to the door. I didn't really see nobody else there.
Okay, like the kids there or anything?
Yeah, they could have been, but it was at that time they usually be asleep at that time, right? So I didn't really see.
So Nikki answered the door, or did you just walk in?
Yeah, she had already unlocked the door, But I still had knocked and she came to the door with and everything. Turned that off.
You turned it off?
Yeah.
So you did use the stove?
Well, I wasn't using it. I didn't use it. She was using it.
You touched the stove?
I touched the stove.
When you say she was boiling a bottle, describe that.
Yeah, like warm it up. Like, so you put water in the pot.
Okay.
And turn it on, let it hit a certain temp. And then you just...
Shift glass or plastic bottles? Baby bottles?
Plastic.
Plastic.
And I believe it was on the front eye.
On what?
On the front eye. The bottle. Like we used the front eye for the bottle.
The burner?
Yeah, the front burner, yeah. The front burner. That's the one we used.
How many burners are on that stove?
Regular. 4. Right.
4?
Yeah, just the regular 4.
And if I'm looking at the stove, which one did she have the
front one?
The first one on the right?
Yeah.
Front right?
Front right, yeah.
Okay. Did you just turn it off or did you move it to another burner?
No, turn it off.
Just turn it off? Mm-hmm. Was the water like simmering or really boiling, rolling?
It was good. It was like regular. Oh yeah, I mean it wasn't like too much. It was the normal temperature. What is the normal temperature? Let me be precise. It was. I wouldn't know how to describe. It wasn't overdoing it. You know, it was ready for him. It was gonna be ready. Probably had to let it sit.
Bubbles coming up from the bottom.
You probably just had to let it sit. And just all you had to do is just let it sit for a little minute, like she usually does it. Just let it sit, and then it'll be ready.
Okay, so
Cause he gonna wake up because he usually wakes up about 12:01, and then she gotta give him that bottle. So she just prepping it.
Were there any other burners on?
I know.
You are the only one that can answer this question. You're the only one that can answer the question why this woman is laying dead like that. Stabbed over 100 times. 100 times.
You know what? I don't know. I'm telling you, sir, I was in my car. And it's as valid as it can get. I was in my car. I did not stay in there.
You think we're gonna believe that you're just sitting there in your car and your baby mom is right in front of you?
She's not in front of me. Can we go back?
Your baby mom.
That's not in front of me. That's not in front of me. That's not.
Your baby mom is in this building.
That's not in front of me though.
Your baby mom is in this building.
It's not in front of me.
Being stabbed more than 100 times. Being stabbed more than 100 times, and you're there in the parking lot.
And I'm there in the parking lot.
And then the building goes on fire, and not to mention your baby's mom, your children, bro. Your children. Your children are in there.
I did not see any smoke coming from it. I did not even see any smoke coming from it.
You can't tell me that.
It was two guys out there. It was two guys out there.
First, there's nobody out there.
No.
Two guys out there.
It was two guys when I pulled off. Just like I forgot I went to Wells Fargo.
It does make sense.
Yes,
so it makes sense to you that you were there when your baby moms were stabbed 100 times.
I was in my car.
The building was set on fire with 3 children inside of the apartment, and you're in your car in the parking lot. That makes sense to you.
I didn't.
What happened in there, Charles?
Nothing happened. I'm telling you.
I can tell you something happened. I showed you the picture already. Something happened.
Something happened.
I had to go to your baby mom's autopsy.
I understand that.
For 3 hours. Not only her, the baby that was laying next to her.
I understand that.
The baby that was laying next to her, man.
I was rolling up, man.
I can't believe you can sit there and tell me that. I can't believe you can sit there and tell me that lie.
I didn't say.
And you can't tell me the reason. What happened?
Nothing happened. We good.
is we're sitting here having this conversation. I show you a picture of Nikki, and you're not bothered by that.
I'm highly bothered by it, but I've been in the military. I was infantry. Highly bothered by it. Asked the ladies earlier.
Not to mention Nikki, your children, and that one baby. That
I went up there and see him.
baby.
Did you know I went up there and see him? I went up there. That's why I was going when y'all even pulled me up. I was just up there this morning. As soon as the officers came, we went straight up there. I talked to the social workers. I talked to everyone. I even seen the children. Asked them how I reacted up there. I'm just keeping my composure here. Like, but just ask them how I was. From the detective.
I saw your response. I saw the video. Your reaction was carefree at that point.
Carefree?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, you ain't see me sit down? You ain't see me sit down and have to gather myself? Oh, man, that's an opinion. That's an opinion. Yeah, that's an opinion. Yeah, that's an opinion. Whoa. Yeah. You see me sit down? You wanted me to cry for you?
I didn't want you.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying.
You continue with that.
No, I'm just saying. It's just a question. Right? I'll just ask a question. I just ask a question.
Say, what's Jasmine going to say if the DNA results come back that Messiah is yours? Because we know it's not Max's.
You know that? Mm-hmm. How you know?
Courts know that. Max did a DNA test.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Well, now you do. What's going to happen when the
for Jasmine?
test comes back
That Messiah
was yours?
That Messiah is now dead.
And you say what happens with what? I'm sorry, you asked that. What happens with what you mean, like what happened?
What's going to happen? How are you going to break the news to Jasmine?
Like I do last time, just say it. Just gotta say it.
That your child, that your child was murdered.
Someone wouldn't take out of Nikki's house.
I ain't take nothing out of this thing. I didn't take anything out.
And how are we going to explain if her phone and your phone both track in the same direction?
At the same time. And she's in the house.
Mm-hmm.
On fire.
Her phone's not.
Her phone is in the car with you, traveling away from the scene. Make that make sense.
And why would you think her phone would have done it then?
Anybody could have done it. No. Anybody out there could have done it. That's crazy. You think that's an opinion then. That's a strong opinion.
Did you get any sleep?
Yes, going through the process, you know? I mean, what you don't know, right? Just whatever, you know, just going through the process.
How are you feeling now?
Going through the process.
Are you feeling okay?
I ain't had my medicine.
You did or did not have it?
But it's medical, so I talked with the lady to see what's the alternate that I can get.
What do you mean by that?
Like process the thoughts.
You gotta go through the process. You said that about 4 or 5 times.
Go through whatever the process is. That's what I know. That's a military term for just whatever it is. You know. What, man?
It's Dakota. Again. You got they're doing better now. They're trying to get him out of the hospital. You were going up there yesterday. So they're not going to get released today, but hopefully tomorrow they're going to be okay to leave the hospital. Either tomorrow or Friday. The evidence is already there. You're already here. Nikki's family, man, they want this to be over with, man. They want to know why, what happened. Here's my thing. You can let us tell the story, or you can get your side out there. You know what I'm saying? We know.
Clean slate for you to apologize on. Here's the instrument to start that apology. You can write it to Nikki's family. You can write it to Dakota and Jessica. You can write it to Jasmine. No, you can write it to yourself. Write it to your mama. Excuse me. I'm with the public. I'm here to see Mr. Ivy. Okay. I want to speak to the attorney right now. I'm your attorney, Mr. Ivy.
Okay, again, I'm confused. Excuse me, I don't know. I guess if you get an answer to, I guess
I think we should talk. You can talk to these guys anytime.
Well, now if you'd like to.
We'll finish our story.
Talk to him. They said don't run that. You back? Oh, you gotta go.
You can leave. Yeah, we will. Yeah. You can talk to him with us.
Daytona Beach Police Chief Chakari Young addressed the press the next morning, and rather than paraphrase what he said, here it is. The defendant in this incident deserves a special place in the gates of hell for what he did to this mother and these children. Again, I have never witnessed anything this horrific in my entire career. He confirmed that Charles placed himself at the scene by his own admission, that technology tracked his vehicle leaving the area after the fire, that he was found with the victim's cell phone. He confirmed the surviving children had no stab wounds, that their injuries were from being left to burn. He said the motive was not clear and may never be, and he thanked the responding officers and firefighters whose immediate actions are the only reason Dakota and Dove are alive.
So are we ready? Okay. Good morning, everybody. So yesterday I shared with you the preliminary details in reference to the structure fire that developed into the double murder of a 30-year-old mother and her 10-month-old child, and the attempted murder of two of her other children, ages 4 and 5. So this morning, I'm going to share with you more of the details surrounding this tragedy, as this is the most horrendous and horrific crime that I've experienced throughout my entire career. I want to start with my victims. So first and foremost, I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the family of the victims. My victim is a Denja Moore, 30-year-old mother who was found deceased inside of that apartment, who suffered numerous stab wounds. Also, her 10-month-old son, who was transported to Halifax Hospital, who also later passed away as a result of his injuries. And then the 5-year-old and the 4-year-old were transported over to Shands Hospital in Gainesville, where they remain at this time. And I believe they're still intubated at this time. My defendant in this is a Charles Leon Ivy. Here's his mugshot. He is 34 years old, and he is the father of at least 2 of those children. We know for a fact he's the father of the 4-year-old and the 5-year-old. So this is most definitely domestic in nature. The defendant has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, first-degree arson. His criminal history is fairly minimal. Prior to this incident, he had some traffic violations, some possession of marijuana, There was a domestic incident back in 2016 on one of his former girlfriends, and in 2020, he was named as a suspect in a child abuse case involving one of the children, but that incident occurred outside of my jurisdiction, and I believe that case was no-filed. But with what we witnessed throughout this investigation, the defendant in this incident deserves a special place in the gates of hell for what he did to this mother and these children. Again, I have never witnessed anything this horrific in my entire career.
So let's apply some intelligent deduction, because the question this case raises isn't whether Charles Ivy did it. The evidence answers that. The real question is what he hoped to gain by denying it. He was in the parking lot, by his own admission. His phone tracked with hers, moving away from the scene. He had her phone. He had an injury on his leg. He was packing bags the next morning. And yet, he sat in that room and said he didn't see any smoke. Here's what denial buys when the evidence is this overwhelming: time. Not freedom time. Time to see if the story holds. Time to watch detectives play their hand. And beneath that, something more personal. The denial is the last act of control over the narrative. He couldn't control what he did in that apartment, but in that interrogation room saying, "I was in my car," that was still his choice. His story. And no matter what the camera showed, he was going to tell it. That's the paradox. The denial doesn't protect him. It convicts him. Every "I didn't see any smoke" is another piece of evidence that he knew exactly what was happening in that building while he sat in that parking lot and drove away. Make that make sense. Denja's cousins Tanisha and Princess spoke to reporters, still in shock. "We was just on the phone talking about preparing for tomorrow." The family spent Thanksgiving lighting candles and praying. A relative said DCF wouldn't let them near Dakota and dove in the hospital, no one knowing what those two children had heard or seen, before firefighters pulled them out. In December, the Daytona Beach Fire Department visited Dakota and dove with Christmas gifts and said the greatest gift they got in return was smiles and hugs from those two kids. Denja and Messiah were laid to rest together on December 16, 2023.
New details tonight about this man, Charles Ivy. Daytona Beach police say he fatally stabbed the mother of his children and then set her apartment on fire with 3 kids inside.
Yeah, the mother's 10-month-old died in the blaze. The other 2 kids are in the hospital, and we learned today that he's actually the father of those kids. Fox 35's Connor Hansen spoke with cousins of the mother today, and he joins us right now in studio. So, Connor, they have to be in shock over this whole thing.
That's right, John. And family members told me today they say Denja Moore was planning to come over to their house for Thanksgiving tomorrow. They say they still can't comprehend how something so horrible could happen to such a good person.
Everybody is still shocked and in disbelief. We was just on the phone, like talking about preparing for the tomorrow.
Denja Moore's cousins, Tanisha and Princess, say they all grew up like sisters. They describe Moore as kind, with a great sense of humor, and someone who would do anything for her kids.
Nice, caring.
Police say Moore was killed by the father of 2 of her children, Charles Ivy. Daytona Beach Police Chief Jakari Young not holding back after describing the horrific details, alleging Ivy stabbed her to death, then set her apartment on fire. Her 3 kids were inside. Her 10-month-old did not make it, and a 4- and 5-year-old are in the hospital.
The defendant in this incident deserves a special place in the gates of hell for what he did to this mother and these children.
Denja Moore's cousins say they didn't know Ivy at all, just that she dropped the kids off with him on weekends. They're relieved that he's in jail and are thanking all the first responders who helped.
This is the mother of your kids. You're the reason she's down here. It's just, just crazy. I can't even describe how we felt when we heard the details of, what happened.
Family members tell me they plan to celebrate Denja tomorrow and remember the good times they've had with her. They're still praying for the two children in the hospital. Tonight, they did not have an update on how they're doing. In the studio, Connor Hansen, Fox 35 News.
Thanks, Connor.
Charles Leon Ivy faces 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder, 2 counts of attempted felony murder, and first-degree arson. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. As of the most recent reporting, nearly 2 years after the murders, he remains in Volusia County Jail without bond. No trial date has been set. Here's where the science falls short. Understanding denial doesn't explain why someone commits the act in the first place. It explains the behavior after the attempt to escape what they've done. The root cause of what happened in that apartment, we may never fully know. And sometimes that's the hardest part of these cases, not the what, the why. What this case teaches us is that denial, when the evidence is this clear, stops being a defense and becomes a confession of its own. Every contradiction in that interrogation room is a man showing you exactly who he is, not with the words he chooses but with the ones he refuses to say. If Denja's story and Baby Messiah deserve to be remembered, and they do, make sure you're subscribed to Red Rage Crime TV on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Hit the notification bell. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What moment in this case hit you the hardest? Every share puts this story in front of someone who needs to see it. That's how we keep these voices alive. See you in the next one.